a follow-up fighter. There it is, follow-up fighter. And the thing is about follow-up, I wanted to kind of explain why, like what's the point of it. And one is, the reason why I call myself now the follow-up fighter is because, first and foremost, I've been working with clients for the past 8 years. And one of the things, and these clients, they all own their own businesses or their own practices. And the thing that I have found is, as a marketer, I can do all kinds of things externally, even internally, to bring people into the business, into the practice. And we've done a lot of very successful things. And then, but they always hit a ceiling. And the reason why they hit a ceiling is because there is what's going on the back end. Okay. Because I'm all about statistics, and I'll talk more about statistics in the future segments. But I wanted to talk about follow up and why it's so important, and why the follow up fighter. As working with my different clients who own businesses, and I found that when they don't follow up, right? There's so many different ways. There's different types of customers to follow up with, and there's also different kinds of follow up. And so right now, for example, if it's a practice, a medical dental practice, anything that has, that type of a business, you can say there's new patients, right? And there's the follow up to get new patients to show up, to come into the office, right? And then there is the follow up with the new patients who don't show up for their appointments, and what happens there. And there's the, when somebody comes in and then they get offered treatment and they don't accept treatment, they're not ready yet. So what happens is they end up, saying, I'm not ready yet, I need to go back, talk to my husband or my wife or my partner or whatever. And or they're not financially qualified, things like that. And then they go, and they've invested, the business has invested a lot of money just to bring that person into the office, a lot of money and time. And then what happens is that no one, they don't, they after the fact, after somebody comes in and they go off onto their own, then next thing you know, they don't get followed up with. Or if they do get followed up with, it's very minimal. And maybe it is, it's once, twice, maybe three times, maybe, but probably not even that. And then unfortunately, the person in charge of that gets so busy that they don't, with anybody new coming in, because everybody's all about, let's close, that person that comes in right that first time they come in, I want them. And that's how we base our business off of, just those people alone, when that's a very small percentage of people, but really it's huge. I mean, it's this many more people are the people that have come in to the practice, and again, any business, that don't buy, right? Even shoppers in a business might come in, look around, and you might ask them, hey, is there any way I can help you? Or what information can I get you? Or things like that. And next thing you know, they're like, no, I'm just looking. And then they take off, and you never capture their information. You never follow up with them. And so there's like a ton. I mean, we're talking thousands to 10,000 to $100,000 in treatment that revenue, whether it's to a practice or it's to a business, that is not being collected, all because of this lack of follow-up. Now, I work with Grant Cardone, and when in his teachings about follow-up, that basically that somebody will close, the majority of people, 80% will close from after 5 to 12 attempts, right? So there's 5 to 12 attempts to get them into the office, okay? And then there's 5 to 12 attempts after they leave the office or after they leave the business, to follow up with them, to bring them back in to invest some more money with you. So, but I would really look at, what's going on in your own company, your own business, your own practice, and then look and see, how are we following up? And then there's another follow up, right? I do a lot of what is called lead marketing, lead It's where, we do, say, for example, Facebook ads, and somebody raises their hand and puts their information in from an advertisement, and they say, I'm interested. And then their information sits in a CRM, a client or a customer relationship management system, and then that's it. It might get a couple of even automated emails or texts, but that's it. Nobody calls, or they call once. They don't get a hold of anybody. They don't even leave a message. Oh, I got my cat here. So, but that is not being done, or not being done enough, right? Because I talk with a lot of people, and they're like, oh, we do follow up. And I'm like, well, how much? And I talk to them about how much, and it's like not near what it needs to be. So, why I created the Follow Up Fighter is that I fight for my clients. I fight for my clients to do more when it comes to follow up, to actually, you know, um, to actually do it, and to do it often, and to do it in different ways. Because the whole other piece of follow up is, what kind of follow up, right? I mean, you might think that you can get away with an email, or you might get away with one phone call, or you don't send them anything in the mail, you don't text them, you don't offer them anything else to come back, you don't even collect their information, depending on what kind of business you are. So people might walk in the door, and you don't somehow try to get their information, so then you can follow up with them later, right? And so there's all of these ways. And so being a follow-up fighter is about the fact that I fight for my clients. I fight for you who may be watching this, and to get you to follow up more. And so that's why I did it. Now, there's an interesting thing. I could have, like, when I was thinking of the title for, Follow Up Fighter, when I came across that, I'm a fan of martial arts. And I thought of it first as mixed martial arts, because if you think about an MMA fighter, and if you've ever watched an MMA fight, oh my gosh, I mean, they're pretty brutal. But the fact is that those people are at the top level, as far as their health goes, as far as their skill levels go. They're very, very high quality folks when knowing all these things. And an MMA fighter needs to know all different kinds of disciplines to get to the top. And it's the same with follow up, right? It's not just one thing. And you could actually, like, go and make a personal visit, depending on the kind of business you are. You could go and make a personal visit. You could pick up the phone. You could email. You could text. You could send a gift. You could do all kinds of things when it comes to follow up. And one thing that I would task for you to do is that to think, go in in your own area, your own neighborhood, in your own, like, home. What comes to your mail, right? Some of the best marketing companies today, companies that market, they actually are sending, they're sending information to you to remind you. And I wrote about this in my last newsletter, and I'm going to be putting together a newsletter that has examples of different ways that you can follow up, because that's really what it is. It's about learning the different ways, learning the strategies, learning from different people who are good at each strategy, and slowly, nothing that has to happen over time. I mean, like, straight away, but over time, right? And we do it over time, and then this way, little by little, you learn a new discipline, or you add a new discipline, a new way of following up to your tool chest. And then you become a follow-up fighter, because you're just like, yeah, right, I am at it, I get it, I know that I have to do all of these things when it comes to following up with the folks that have come in, or are thinking about coming in, to whether it's your practice, whether it's your business, I don't care what it is. Follow up, if you're not doing follow up, you are missing out. And that's why I fight to help, those who are in, see this, or my clients, to get them to follow up more. And I put together strategies for them, and I help them manage those. And for example, I do what is called a reactivation campaigns, where I can take a list, and I do this every single day, where I take different lists, and I can then monetize those lists by reactivating them, by following up with those people in various ways. And so that's one thing I want you to really think about when it comes to, what are you doing for your current follow up? And in all the different stages of the, whether it's the patient journey, whether it's the customer journey, whether it's the client journey. What are you doing to follow up in all of those ways? Okay. And then also the other piece of the follow up fighter, and the reason why I made it look the way it is because as much I was thinking about the MMA fighter, right, and kind of making it look like that because that really is key to all of this. But the other piece of this is as a superhero. So I wear this like it's a superhero, like it's like it's Superman or Batman, whatever. When it's there, it's prominent, it's bright, bold, and it shows right that this could be a superhero emblem. All right. And the reason why I kind of combine it with MMA fighter and a superhero is because once you start doing it, once you start following up, then you can become a superhero. It'll one, if you do it for your own company, or you do it for a company you work for, or suggest it and bring it in to them, you become the superhero because once you get follow up down, you can save companies. You can literally save a company by following up better, or following up at all, or following up more, right? You can also save, right, and grow and expand and just blow up a company so fast by the fact that you start to then follow up. Right. So I really do liken, and why when I chose Follow Up Fighter, I wanted it to be a combination between an MMA fighter and a superhero, and you combine them both and you do these things and you just start following up more, better at all, then next thing you know, you will the company will take on a whole new, it'll get to its next level, and it can happen immediately. So I wanted to just make that talk a little bit about Follow Up Fighter. I'm going to start every Friday. I'm going to have Follow Up Fighter Fridays. Say that 3 times fast. Follow Up Fighter Fridays, and where we're gonna kind of pull apart the different ways that you can follow up with your customers, clients, or patients, and help to make things even better and just grow or save, and do it very, very fast. All right. So with that being said, I'm Wendy Susan Richmond, and I am the Follow Up Fighter.